History abounds in episodes that testify to the inimical relationship between Poland and Ukraine. What is thawing their relationship? Is the relationship gradually improving? Or is something else brewing in the background? Hi, and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I'm your host, Atul Mishra, and if you haven't subscribed to the TFI Global channel yet, hit the subscribe button right away. When it comes to aiding Ukraine, Warsaw is taking an entirely different path than the EU. The Polish government is putting up hurdles within Brussels, making it impossible to provide help to Kiev. Until now, all assistance from Poland to Ukraine is just a sham. If you think Warsaw is helping Ukraine out of solidarity, you're mistaken. The true intention is something else. Poland seeks to make Western Ukraine what it was before its formal independence, that is, a Polish colony. There have been several reports that claim that Poland wants to annex Western Ukraine. Yes, Poland had plans to invade and seize territorial portions in Western Ukraine. Polish officials obviously deny this, and the Western media continues to remain absolutely silent. Historically, Western Ukraine was part of Poland. It has been governed by Poland several times in history, including after the 1921 Riga Peace Accord. Hence, it is highly likely that Warsaw intends to do the same again. But the recent geopolitical storm poses a problem. Ukraine is already in a state of war, and Poland is part of the European Union that has expressed its allegiance to Kiev. Hence, Poland cannot simply go ahead with its annexation fantasy. But Poland's current crop of leaders are one of the sharpest ones around. Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki and President Andrzej Duda have placed their pawn in such a position that without even firing a single bullet, Ukraine is itself allowing Western Ukraine to become a Polish colony or a vassal state. The Ukrainian parliament has passed legislation that allows Poles to legally stay in Ukraine for 1.5 years without needing to obtain any special permits while enjoying similar rights as Ukrainians. The bill on special guarantees for Polish nationals won the support of 283 MPs. The law is now going to get signed by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. This legislation would provide Poles with the right to employment, economic activity, education, and medical care in Ukraine. Olga Sovgiria, the deputy speaker of the Ukrainian parliament, stated in mid-July that in addition to these social guarantees, Poles with European credentials, such as physicians, nurses, and obstetricians, will be permitted to work in Ukrainian state clinics. Zelensky's office stresses that Ukraine is granting special status to Poles as a gesture of gratitude for their assistance in midst of the crisis. While the Ukrainian government praises their decision, Russia has expressed its discontent and said Zelensky just did what Poland wanted for years. Russian parliament's upper chamber, Olga Kovitidi, has said, without firing a shot, Zelensky let the Poles into Ukraine who had been dreaming about this for centuries. The Polish president has stated that Zelensky's move has a symbolic meaning, as the nation that had tried to get rid of Poles at all costs is now welcoming them. And yes, that's true. Historically, Ukrainians have never accepted Polish people in Ukraine. Ukraine was still one of the countries that Poles hated the most in 2000. Poles will never forget the massacre in which 70,000 to 100,000 Poles perished in villages in East Galicia and Volhynia in 1943 and 1944 respectively. The First and Second World Wars were followed by the interwar years, which the Ukrainians regret. During this time, Ukrainian nationalists killed dozens of Polish government officials, whereas Poles attacked Ukrainian villages in western Ukraine. Polish police assaulted young Ukrainian men and demolished communal structures. It is evident that their history has not been one of harmony. This makes Zelensky's move even more suspicious at this time, when he's losing the narrative of the war along with the war itself. As the Ukraine war is heading into a cold era, the European Commission has started to move away from Ukraine and has shifted its focus back to domestic issues. EU is now finding ways to somehow stop sanctioning loans and assistance to Ukraine for rebuilding purposes and economic recovery. Zelensky will find it hard to continue fighting this one-sided war with his funds running dry. He will face a military defeat first, and then comes the political defeat. He knows this and has extended his hand towards Warsaw to save face. But Mr. President, God helps only those who help themselves.